Good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, gorgeous. Don't forget to smile. As you look radiant as you are the queen of your Nile, wake up, beautiful. It's time to spread your wings. Open up your window and hear the songbirds as they sing.
Welcome to Good Morning Gorgeous, your Saturday morning dose of inspiration. I am Sharonda Steele,
I'm yours truly, Larissa Williams.
today we have with us KaSondra Brown. Welcome to Good Morning Gorgeous, Miss Brown.
Thank you so much. What an honor. What a pleasure. Woo, I'm
We are
excited.
excited to have you here. And I have to say, currently, KaSondra is supporting her child at his sporting event, but she is still here with us today. And honestly, that's a good part of the conversation that we're getting ready to have, right, Larissa?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is. And so, Miss Brown, we have a little bit of a relationship where we have spoken years ago and connected years ago. And the funny thing is, Sharonda, we connected while pumping gas at Kroger's.
Wow.
Didn't know each other or something. And God just had me go over and speak to her.
Wow. Talk
Didn't know
about
her. She
encounters.
didn't know me. And God just had me go over and speak to her. And I think I may have complimented you. Did you have your hair down that day?
Probably so.
She's got some beautiful, beautiful long hair. And I think I want to say that I complimented her on her hair that day. And we, connected ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I know I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more. I know Larissa has already had an opportunity to talk to you a little bit, but for me and all of those that may be viewing or listening in, this is this will be our first time hearing from you on a very timely and I think important discussion. But before we jump into, I know you are currently a foster parent. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. That is actually the focus of what we're discussing today. But before we get started with all of that, why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself so that our listeners and viewers can know a little bit more about you?
Oh, wow. Well, my name is KaSondra Brown. I am a single mom of two amazing, energetic, high-strung boys. Um, my house is 99% male dominated. Um, when I do foster, it's 9 out of 10 times it's a boy. And it's so funny because as we have this conversation, I'm actually waiting on a placement now, and it's a girl.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and I hope and pray that
Wow.
I pray that I don't overstimulate her because I am so excited to have a female besides myself in my home. Uh,
Oh,
a couple years ago, I've had up to 5 boys in my home. So when this is an emergency placement, it's a temporary placement, but they said, KaSondra, we need you. Most importantly, she needs you. She needs your
Yeah.
personality. She needs your energy. So I don't know what that means, but I'm here for it. And so at this ball game, watching one son, I'm awaiting on my foster kiddo. So um, I am a,
wow.
I am a public servant. First and foremost, a child of God, and I feel like I don't think I work. I think more of my professional life is what he has ordained me to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with not being at the financial level that I would like to be, because every day I come home I can say I gave 110% and I helped someone, and my prayer is that when they left me they felt better leaving when they came.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so that that's it in a shell.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Talk about impact, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, you have all of these children that are coming through to you who, may have come from some pretty difficult backgrounds, and to
Mm-hmm.
come in with some care and love before they move on is probably exactly what they need.
Yes.
So I commend you for sure. Like, this is a very important work.
Well, it's not just me. I have a strong praying village,
Mm,
and um, I can't do it without them. Even if
mm,
it's me calling so and so, hey, pray for this baby, and I don't go in great details. The only thing I have to tell my people is, hey, so and so needs prayer, and it is done.
right,
Right.
So,
Right.
right.
And Cassandra, if you would let our viewers know, um, what impacted you to start becoming a foster parent, and then you adopted your youngest son, and how long you've been doing it?
honestly, I've been fostering on and off for over, I would say, honestly, 20 some years.
Wow.
Um, I,
Wow.
I, yeah, I started very early, in life fostering, but I had an amazing mentor, Latanya. I'm gonna give her whole name, Latanya Renee Ford. She was a parent at a child development center that I used to work for, and she had foster children, and she did such a remarkable job. If she wouldn't have told me that they were her foster children, I would have never known. So that is how well and how loved her children were. When you love a
Mhm.
child so much, you have other people thinking, is that their child? It don't look like her, is it? Then that's what it's
Right.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she was a mentor for years of mine. And then, we started talking about the conversation. But what truly was the icing on the cake of it was, you know, um, I lost my mother by the time I was 7.
Mm,
And it was that ugly C word, that ugly cancer. Took my mother at 7. My brother was only 2. So in our culture, in the Brown community, you're not going to foster care. Then, back then in the 70s, you weren't going. You would go to auntie, cousin, so and so. So, my aunt in New Jersey, and I'm a country girl through and through. We had to come back to Kentucky, and my grandfather made sure his 2 babies got back here lickety split,
mm,
and we've been in Kentucky ever since. So I feel like I could I truly understand them. There's a difference between um emphasize and sympathize.
mm.
And
Mm.
I go on both realms because I too could have been, by law, by terminology, a foster child, but my family was like, no, come on, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for so long. And then, my career path changed 20 some years later. I worked in a nonprofit realm, was working with Head Start, early Head Start, um, for a major nonprofit in Fayette County. And then I took an early retirement last November. And now I'm in the mental health field. And let me tell you how
Okay.
God works. Oh, can I talk about my God?
Come on
And
now.
when I get
Please
with
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
Yes.
when I get with Miss Williams, I tell you what, she just does something to you. But that that COVID took me out. I was very blessed and fortunate through the whole COVID. I worked. I worked 5 days, some days 6 days a week, and while everybody was enjoying home, working at home, I was in the trenches of what this society, our culture, the devastation that we received and was involved in with COVID, and it was so bad for me because every day it was trauma, 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 trauma.
Right.
Family are not getting fed. Undocumented citizens scared to come outside their home. And one of the things people forget, when COVID hit, that was the same time that ISIS hit state of Kentucky.
Mm,
So you had these federal agents I hate to say it, but lurking around looking for folks.
mm,
And then at the same time, COVID, which was unemploying folks, So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's wondering where we're going to get our next meal. So
Mm-hmm.
for a whole, I say that for a whole year and a half, sadly, I did not do homework with my children. I went to work before they got up and came home, and they was getting ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very blessed to have an amazing childcare provider. She took care of my kids like no other. But after everything was said and done, um, I knew, I've done all that I could do. It's time for me to, it's time for that next step. And I left my nonprofit on amazing terms. I mean, to this day, I still advocate for them. But I needed that change. And
Mm-hmm.
he directed me into therapy and mental health. And not only do I get to continue to be a servant, but I get free mental health services. So,
Mm-hmm.
so,
That's
and
awesome.
I'm
And
a,
it's interesting how the parallel between you losing your mom and having to go live with family, now you're able to provide
mhm,
that structure, that home for other kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
huge.
And,
That's huge.
Yeah, it is. Especially now with, the rates are so high in terms of children that need homes, you know?
a- absolutely. And especially brown homes. I
Yeah.
mean, this was not even a notion in the 50s and 60s and
Mm,
70s. And I'm not saying that color matters, but
right.
representation does. See, and we got to get the two. We got to understand the difference between the two:
Yeah,
representation and then color.
that's right. And she Larissa mentioned that you fostered children, but you ended up adopting a child. Is that the only one that you've adopted? And how did you make that
At,
decision to start
boy,
adopting?
um, I don't think it was my decision. It was the path that he led me to.
Mm.
And I had this amazing little boy um, since he was 2. And
Oh,
and the thing about that really surprises folks, my child did not get adopted until 2021. So let's do the math on that. I had this child 5.5 years
mm,
before his adoption came. And that's I'm very appreciative. I'm very grateful that it happened, but it shouldn't have took 5.5 years.
right.
Right, right. There's a there, you know, there's a break in the system somewhere. When you have these children and you have them in loving homes, it should not take 5.5 years to adopt a child. You're giving that child everything that they need. Why do you feel that it takes so long? Why do you feel that the process is so long?
And see that answer, that's a what is it? That's a double-edged sword answer.
Mm,
Number one, we had an amazing team. They were phenomenal. I still have relationships and rapport with them to this day. They make sure they're very thorough in what they're doing, but I think it's a little bit above them. I mean, I understand in giving,
Mm-hmm.
individuals, a second chance, but when we get down to we're gonna give you this 11th chance. See, that's when it's too much.
right.
That's when it's too
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
But the way our adoption is, I mean, he's been with me longer than he was with his bios.
Yes.
And I'm very fortunate because, and I don't know, but my son is blonde hair, blue eyes.
Mhm.
And you really don't see African American women with that. Now, again, I don't like to, really elaborate and, stress on the color, but you can look at TV, you can look at news, you can look at magazines. It's always Caucasian race, Anglo-Saxons with brown children, Asian children, etc. But you don't see much of us. And so, when the folks said, well, KaSondra, would you be interested in adopting him? That shouldn't even been a question. I'm not going to tell this child after being with me 5.5 years, you got to go somewhere else.
Right.
No, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you could ask my son to this day. And when we went to court, I did not adopt him. He adopted me.
Right.
Yes.
And,
Ooh, that gave me
and,
chills.
and when the judge said, and when the judge who, when I tell you this relationship and how God worked, the same judge that performed his adoption was his attorney when he was born. When he was a couple hours old, she
Wow.
was his attorney. And now let's look at 5 years, 6 years later, she's the presiding judge on him.
Yes. Look at God.
Wow.
Look at
And
God.
we had the biggest adoption, I believe, in Fayette County's history to this day.
Wow.
We had folks from over 7 states come to my son's adoption. And when I talk about a village, I talk about a village and I talk about prayer. They never met my child. They're friends of mine. I went to college with, their associates, what have you. They never met him, but they were always on the other line when I said, girl, let me tell you about this. I need you to pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came for that adoption, well, let's see who we've been praying for all these years. And they flew in.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
So
awesome. So we know you're waiting now for your first girl to come. That's exciting, especially
it's
being with
very,
boys for so long. I have all boys. My grandson ended up being a boy. I don't even know how I could. I don't even know if I could respond well to a girl. I'm so used to these boys.
I'm nervous. I'm excited. So I'm gonna keep everybody posted. I'm gonna keep y'all posted. I might know her name too. She
Yes,
gonna when
yes,
she
for
might call say
sure.
she gonna tell somebody, come and get me. This woman won't leave me alone.
And how old is she, Cassandra? How old is she?
She is 11.
Oh,
So
Okay.
that's
oh yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Now you see her. Look, you see how long, beautiful hair. That's what I'm talking about. I do. It was what I complimented her on her hair when she just pulled her hair.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful hair. Just,
You got to
I just
share some
love.
secrets.
I just love her. Cassandra's spirit and how, because fostering is not for everybody.
That's right.
I feel
Mm-mm.
like you have to have the right mindset to take in someone else's children.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not for everybody. And I feel like if I did it, I feel like I would become so attached, and it would be hard for me to, like, if they end up coming to the home and have to take the kid. I don't know how well I would adjust to that child not being in my home anymore. That would be a hard
Mm-hmm.
adjustment for me, because I'm an emotional creature. I'll tell anybody I am. Now I'm strong. Don't mess over me, because I'm not going. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to nurturing and all that kind of stuff, that would be so. That would be very, very hard for me. Hard for me. It really
And,
Well, I
would.
know
and,
you mentioned with this one that you had them for 5 years. Have you had
mm-hmm.
any others where you had them for that long, but they had to go? I'm sure it must be hard.
It is definitely hard. It is definitely hard. But what keeps me in the realm of continuing to do it is the time that they're with me. And I even told this to my big boys when the time that they're with me, I can promise you a few things. Number one, you will not go hungry. Number two, no self-harm will come to you. And number three, I will love you and get on your nerves so bad that will probably be the main reason you want to get away from me. And that's about it. I mean, and that honestly, that is about it. They do come, they do go. I have never had one. Probably the longest I had one was probably about a year.
Mm,
But I think I laid enough foundation for them to know what true love is.
right.
Yeah.
And a
Wow.
lot of times when people talk about true love, they talk about it more of an intimacy. They talk about more relationship. I talk
Mm-hmm.
about with my boys.
Yes.
Mommy's truly in love with you. And what does true love look like? That looks like mommy is getting up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, going to the baseball game, where once again I'm the only black person there. If you think about
Mm,
it, baseball is not a predominantly black sport
You're
because there's
right.
it's so many reasons. It's expensive. It's super expensive, but it is what it is. When I humble myself and put my personal feelings aside about the parents on the team, about the environments that we're going in, just to be supportive of my child,
mm.
that's true love.
Yes.
Have you ever had anyone question you adopting him, being two different, with
Cultures,
two
races.
different, racial backgrounds?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And um, during I guess our last presidency, and I won't make things political, but I think we were in a society where people were feeling comfortable and confident in talking and questioning, and um, to the point that there was no what's the word? There was no
No,
remorse or no
no
yeah,
filter. No filter.
there was no filter. And sadly, at our our Walmart out Hamburg, we had a lady follow us.
Hmm.
No.
And my baby's beautiful. I mean, he is beautiful. Not only is he
He is a
beautiful on the
doll. He is so
he
handsome.
and his inside matches or tops his outside. That is the most loving, giving, spiritual child you that I've ever met. He reminds me that I'm a heathen, and he prays for me all the time.
Yes.
Oh,
And we are at a all white school, um and I'm the only black mommy. Well, we got one of his good friends. um so we're constantly getting the looks, and we're constantly the side eyes and the whispers, but I can't help what other people think about me. That's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but but what I can do is empower my boys to look over
Yes.
ignorance and pray for them.
yeah,
And it does happen, sister, more times than you can imagine, but I don't give it energy. I
yeah.
can't. And that's one thing that I, constantly focus on and work on is protecting my energy, protecting my mental health, because I'm a single parent. So I have to do it to make sure our household is run effectively and smoothly.
Right. Good stuff. Wow. Powerful. I'm glad that
So,
they have you for sure. Definitely.
so,
Thank you.
with you being in it for so long and all these years, um, what what is something that you would like to leave with our viewers, or listeners that may be considering getting in, considering and have probably been in prayer about about fostering or adopting children?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice, or what can you say to someone that is considering wanting to do that?
Yeah.
I would say do it, because if God has planted the seed in your heart to even consider it, then you need to help it grow. Um, I would employ them to make sure you have a strong network of support,
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said initially, these kids, you got to remember they're in foster care for a reason. You don't just
Right.
go to
Yeah.
foster care as something you want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
a a crime or some sort had to be so extensive for the state of Kentucky to remove you from what you called your home. So first and foremost, you have to remember that. And a trauma, or you're breaking generational abuse that they did not know it was abuse.
Right.
You have to understand that clean clothes and hot meals is not it. That is not all of being a foster. You're going to go through a roller coaster of emotions and feelings, but you have to stay strong in your conviction and do your very best that you can do, and leave knowing that that's what you did. How's the
Yeah.
sound go? You gave it your all. When that child was with
Mm-hmm.
you, that child was loved. When that child was
Mm-hmm.
with you, that child was fed. And you got to look at the little accomplishments. Those count.
Yes.
Those matter. Only
Mm-hmm.
thing I did, you fed them, even if it's respite. There's a thing where you
Uh-oh, Cassandra, you frozen up on us.
Just it's like babysitting. You keep again, you show them that there are good people. They're honest, and there's people that want you, that don't even know you, that are praying for you, that want you to succeed and want to give you opportunities that you didn't even think that were available.
Yes.
So to those that are even inquiring about it, if you don't want to foster, then you don't want to adopt, then do respite. Be a mentor to someone, but do something.
Right.
Because and I think it was it Dr. King that said anybody could be great because anybody could serve. You don't have to have a master's degree to be a foster parent. You don't have to have a doctorate degree to be a foster parent.
Yes.
You just have to have the heart to love.
Yes.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
That's so good. Well, this was incredible. I mean, I've been working with youth and families for many, many years, and I've had a number of students who had at some point gone through foster care or had been adopted, and it was always just really nice to see them with their families, because that's exactly who they
Mhm.
became. So I mean, I'm just grateful that you've come and talked with us today, and share with us your story, but also the encouragement for others that may be considering or thinking about it. I think you said something
Mm-hmm.
really key. One, you don't have to have this big old long laundry list of educational experience. You just have to have that heart and want to do it.
That's
And for
it.
those
That's
that
it.
may not have the heart, and in terms of the capacity to be able to foster children, let me correct that. Then mentor. There's a lot of opportunities for you to go and show up for our
Mm-hmm.
kids. And so I just commend you so much for the
Yes.
work that you're doing. And you said early on, I'm not, where I would have wanted to be financially, but you have so much more
Yes.
than many people that have millions of dollars have, and you're able to give that to these kids. And I mean, there's no other greater joy than the work that you're doing. And there's
Mm-hmm.
not a amount of money that can compare to the lives that you're
Yes.
changing with those kids that come through your home. So I thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and how you're helping our kids, for sure.
Thank you. And like I said before, it it seems like there's a pipeline
Mm,
because again, I'm in the therapeutic practice now, and it's not very fun all the time. And the stories that I hear, I work in transitional sober living program, and you would not believe, again, the pipeline from either foster, from abuse, neglect that brought them to substance use.
mm,
So, so again, for those, like I said, that doesn't feel comfortable, that does not want to flat out foster, you still got to go through the process so you could do respite.
yeah.
But that
Mm-hmm.
you could be that respite, that overnight getaway for the parents and for the child. A child needs a break from the mama, and vice versa. And you could be the mentor. You could
Mhm.
teach I have a white mentor. Help me do my son's hair. When he got lice, I thought I did something wrong, but I had a
Mhm.
village to turn to.
Mhm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you got to
but
say, you've got to have people there that help you get through those times, because when you're fostering or adopting a child not, that is not a part of your culture, then,
hmm
and I give praise to you because of what you're doing. Like you said, the average person, the average African American doesn't play baseball. And there you are,
hmm
because and that's great. And I commend you on doing that, because when you take on children of another nationality, another race,
hmm
and that is something that I feel like the parents should do. Yeah, you're going to teach them your culture because now you're part of that family. But the most important thing is that you also teach them about their actual culture, so that they don't lose out, so that they don't lose out on that. And at the same time, you're both learning the opposite culture. Does that make, you know what I mean? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of a king, you are going to grow into a strong Black man. I take that same breath and I look at my little blonde, Jace. You are a prince of a king.
Mm.
You are
Yes.
going to be a strong white man. You use your super spidey powers for good and you teach this world. And the same
Yes.
thing goes to RJ. So it's life in both of them. We see color, we don't focus on color.
Right.
And that is a huge stigma. Oh, I'm not racist because I have Black friends. Oh, I don't see color. Well, number one, I see color. I see this blue truck to the right of me. I see that gray truck to the left of me. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
when you say that, you kind of confuse me, and I'm grown. I'm almost 50. So
Right.
that that's number one. And then number two, I actually had someone say to me, "Well, we know you're not racist because you have a white child." No, that's not the answer. I'm not
Yeah.
racist because I choose not to be racist.
Mm.
Let's
Yes. There's a difference.
let's understand that. There's a difference. I'm not racist because I have a white child. I'm not racist because I choose not to be ignorant and racist.
That's right.
So until we are able to have uncomfortable conversations, and again to those foster parents that are raising, Black children, I believe you love them, but you need to love them enough to humble yourself and say, "Hey, I need a mentor. Hey, I need help."
Yeah.
Because it's out there. It's out there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always I'm always the only Black person at the white barber shop. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I greet them the same way I greet Mario at Buckhorn. Hey Mario. So
Right.
Yeah. Well, I thank you again for coming on and for Larissa for reaching out to you because I do think that this is going to help a lot of people.
mhm.
A lot
Mm-hmm.
of
Well, I
people.
hope it does. And again, these are just my opinions. This is how I feel. Take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right. Well,
I
you've
love
been
it.
doing it for 20 some odd years, and I feel like if there's somebody that can help somebody understand the system, help them get through it and everything, um, you can do it.
Thank
I
you.
feel like you are a strong, powerful advocate, and
The expert now, after
yeah,
20 years, you have become the expert in
yeah,
many ways. In many
yeah,
ways.
yeah. And I've met a late, and I work with a coworker that that has fostered children, and so and she has adopted, she's Caucasian, and so she has adopted a biracial little girl. And the little
Hmm.
girl, I think she's had the little girl, probably she had the little girl, I think, at the age of 2.
Mm.
Now the little girl she has adopted, she's now 11.
Hmm.
So, and so now she's currently fostering a um another biracial little girl that's I think she may be going, maybe getting ready to go into high school. She was at
Hmm.
LTMS, so now she's getting ready to go to high school. But and so I see what she goes through, and I see how hard that she advocates for the children, and how, like, the emergency placement and all, like what you're doing today. That's a lot. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a lot of work, but to see you and to see her, how you are advocating for these children, it just warms my heart, because it's a lot of work, and I don't know if people really really understand all the work that you two do to help because they have to have somebody to advocate for them, because they don't. And it's sad to say that sometimes their social workers don't help them as much as you guys do. You do more than they do.
Yeah, and you have to have a voice. I mean, one thing Fayette County knows about me is I have a mouth, and I don't, like, our President Obama said, I greet the mayor the same way I would greet a janitor. When I have a
Mm-hmm.
child that comes into my home, I want this community to be so confused. Is this her biological child? Is it not? And why I want you to be confused, because that's how I'm going to treat that child.
That's
If
right.
I feel that social worker is not doing her job, They know about KaSondra. Department of Community-Based Service know about KaSondra. And what they know is she advocates for her kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to call you every day, I will call you every day to get what my child needs. Because first and foremost,
Yes.
that's a child. That's
Yeah.
a child. I'm adult. So you're not going to play with my child. Okay, see?
Right.
We was going to end on a positive note. But yeah. These children need to know that there are genuine people that truly care and that will protect them with every fiber.
That's right. That's right. Well, we thank you. I know you're probably about 10 minutes away or so before your foster arrives.
They just arrived. They just
Oh,
arrived.
wow.
Okay,
So we want to go
awesome.
ahead and let you greet them. We wish you all the best for you and all the kids. And, you know, anytime you need some help with anything, need additional advocates, you let us know. Whatever we need to do
Yes.
with Good Morning Gorgeous and pushing the information out there, getting the word out, we will most certainly do it.
Yes,
But we are
ma'am.
going to let KaSondra go because she has a
Thank
very,
you.
very important meeting to get to.
Yes.
But as we always like to say at Good Morning Gorgeous, find yourself,
Believe in yourself,
and love
love
yourself.
yourself.
You guys have
Thank
a great Saturday. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank